Habits, Part 2. Dear all, as I research the writings of Sri Aurobindo and the Mother, I often find that even 10 parts of a subject are not sufficient to fully cover all they have written. Therefore, as I have said previously, please go to our website, motherandsriaurobindo.in, and research for yourself all of their works, which are easily accessible and even downloadable. From the Mother. One lives by a kind of habit which is barely half conscious. One lives, does not even objectify what one does, why one does it, how one does it. One does it by habit. All those who are born in a certain environment, a certain country, automatically take the habits of that environment, not only material habits, but habits of thought, habits of feeling, and habits of acting. They do it without watching themselves doing it, quite naturally. And if someone points this out to them, they are astonished. As a matter of fact, one has the habit of sleeping, speaking, eating, moving, and one does all this as something quite natural, without wondering why or how, and many other things. All the time one does things automatically. By force of habit, one does not watch oneself. And so, when one lives in a particular society, one automatically does what is normally done in that society. And if somebody begins to watch himself acting, watch himself feeling and thinking, he looks like a kind of phenomenal monster compared with the environment he lives in. And after all, what we want, we know that we need, not an artificially new language, but something supple enough to be able to adapt to the needs of a new consciousness. And that's probably how that language will emerge, from a number of old languages, through the disappearance of habits. And looking at it from this angle, you realize the total absurdity of judgments, which are more than 99% based on old habits. The old habits of what you regard as good or bad, useful or harmful, and so on. An automatic judgment, automatic acceptance, or refusal. Oh, there's a whole work going on at night. Oh, the whole petty subconscious working of habits, with all the gradations of the importance it assumes in the general consciousness. And, very interestingly, according to the proportion of the importance, it gives the scale. There was the whole scale from the little manias people have, which of course are very superficial and mere habits, to the known maniacs or half-mad, the whole scale, along with the whole working. And then the perception that it's just a question of dosage. We all belong to the same substance. It was seen so concretely that it was quite interesting. And in conclusion, one saw how to put that under the direct influence of the supreme force and consciousness, so as to break the inescapable chain of habits. It was very interesting. And when the cells are good-willed, by in quotes, good-willed, end quotes, I mean that as soon as their attention is turned to the supreme force, parentheses, or supreme presence, or supreme existence, or supreme reality, whatever, words are nothing but words, end parentheses. As soon as their attention is turned to that, a burst of joy. That's it, that's it. In the cells that are truly not only good-willed, but thirsting for the truth. A burst of joy. And then the old habits start up again, and the cells say, it recurs periodically, that is, very often, thousands of times a day, in quotes, but we only have to will, end quotes, or, in quotes, we only have to aspire, end quotes, or, in quotes, we only have to think of that, end quotes. It's not think as we understand it. We only have to turn our attention. Oh, but it's true, like that. Oh, such joy, and then, brrr, all the old habits come back again. It's fantastic, fantastic. The fear of the unknown is gone. Parentheses. Doubt went away a very long time ago. End parentheses. The fear of the unknown, of the new, the unexpected, is gone. There only remains the mechanism of habit. But it holds on. It clings. Oh, I don't dispute the fact, in the sense that humanity was created by nature for a special purpose and special ends, and in order to realize her ends, she has produced beings and also given them special habits and special functions. Therefore, if you speak of, in quotes, natural things, I cannot tell you that this is not natural, for that is the way of nature. But still, I believe I have told you, not only once, but many times, and Sri Aurobindo also has written this, not once, but many a time, that we are not here to recommence, perpetuate, continue what is done elsewhere. And we have given a concrete form to this fact, especially in our education. For I must say, without offending anyone, that those who come here after having already seen much of life, those who have quite a heavy past behind them, may find it difficult to change their attitude and point of view immediately. But if you take very young children who have not yet been too spoiled, they are always spoiled, but those who have not yet been too spoiled by ordinary education, the ideas of their family, the atavism of their parents, etc., you have a chance of orientating the consciousness on the right path and getting a tangible and concrete result. There are some who consider it a scandal, some consider it a glaring error from the physical, material point of view. Why aren't girls treated in a special way and quite different from boys? Then the great argument, as it is done everywhere. Ah, thank you. Then why do we have an ashram? Why do we have a center of education? If everywhere the same things are done, we don't need to repeat them. We won't do them any better than others. And when they put this argument in my way, they couldn't tell me anything that appears more utterly stupid to me. It is done everywhere. That is just the reason for not doing it, For if we do what others do, it is not worth the trouble doing anything at all. We want precisely to introduce into the world something which is not there. But if we keep all the habits of the world, all the preferences of the world, all the constructions of the world, I don't see how we can get out of the rut and do something new. We don't want to obey the orders of nature, even if these orders have millions of years of habits behind them. And one thing is certain, the argument of nature when she is opposed to things changing is, "It has always been thus." I claim this is not true. Whether she likes it or not, things change, and a day will come when it will be said, "Ah, yes, there was a time when it was like that, but now it is different." Well, grant only for some time, in a way which is still that of faith and trust, that we are in fact bringing about this change, that we have come to a point where things are going to take a turn and a new orientation. You are simply asked to have just a little faith and trust, and allow yourselves to be guided. Otherwise, well, you will lose the advantage of being here, that's all. And you will go back with the same weaknesses and same habits one sees in life as it is outside. There you are. You must not forget that when I said that we were a small group of 12 to 16, gathering regularly, and it was to these I was speaking, I never thought I would be reading this to more than 50 people, never. But I said this positively to those who were there in that little group, those to whom I had given this peace innumerable times, and every time they had lost it. That is what I mean. It was something altogether particular. Now, generally speaking, for those who are here, one may say, as you do, that peace is constantly giving, parentheses, as also consciousness, force, knowledge, end parentheses, to a certain extent, as much as the mind is able to receive it. So it can no longer be said that it is lost, but one becomes aware of it, then unaware, and again aware, then again unaware, quite simply for a reason similar to the one I have given. For it is always true, whether there are 16 or 18 or 150 or 700, the reason is almost the same, that even when you are well-intentioned, there is something in the being which clings desperately to its habits. People imagine that if something has changed in their little outer habits, they have made a great progress. They tell you, "But don't you see? I travel, I change my environment, change circumstances, and I adapt myself very well." All that means nothing at all. It is the inner habits, the inner reactions, the inner way of seeing, the way of thinking, of directing one's action. It is this which refuses to change, which finds it so difficult to change. If one wants to give an education which prevents bad habits from being formed, or bad tendencies from being pursued, an education which leads children constantly into the right path that one wants them to follow, well, When they are small, it is possible. When they become bigger, it becomes hard. One cannot change the imprint easily. Even sometimes it is necessary to break things to be able to change them, as those who are not progressive, who are fixed and remain fixed, who cling with all their strength to their petty habits. While the little ones are supple, one can change their opinion, one can make them progress. Give them to see that tomorrow one must do better than today.